Bernie, let me throw it to you. What's going on right now in the United States Senate, and what's your take on the politics of the day?
There is a whole lot that's going on. Let me try to summarize it. Number one, there are three separate budget conflicts that are coming down the pike. Right now, when people talk about the possibility of a shutdown, they're talking about a continuing resolution to fund the 2011 federal budget. That's one issue. Issue number two is the 2012 federal budget. Third issue is that in a number of months, the debt ceiling is going to be reached. The United States is going to have to borrow more money. The Republicans are using that moment as an opportunity to propose some savage cuts. So those are the three separate issues. Now it gets a little bit confusing. That's what's going on. Number two, what I want to talk about is I get a little bit tired of hearing folks talking about how the recession is over. We've held a number of town meetings in Vermont. The reality is that millions and millions of people in my state, all over this country, are hurting. It is not just unemployment is high. And by the way, let me reiterate a point I always make. Real unemployment is very much higher than official unemployment. If you look at people who've given up looking for work, if you're looking at people who are working part-time when they want to work full-time, real unemployment is about 16% in this country. Going down a bit. That's the good news. But it is still very, very severe, especially for younger workers, blue-collar workers. And also what we are seeing is long-term unemployment is probably longer than at any time in modern history. Very hard, especially for older workers, to get a job once they lose the current job. Furthermore, what the official unemployment statistics do not include is the fact that many people who have lost their jobs are now working at jobs paying substantially less than the jobs that they are having, so that they previously had. So, Tom, what you're looking at really is a significant decline in the American middle class, having a lot to do with the deindustrialization of America, lower wage jobs. What you're also seeing is an increase in poverty. And at the same time, as you're seeing the people on top doing phenomenally well. And I raise these issues in terms of what we're dealing with in the budget, because our Republican friends look at a budget in only one way, and that is to slash programs that are life and death, in some instances, for millions and millions of American workers. Right now in this country, Tom, and it should be a great embarrassment to us all, about 45,000 Americans die each year because they don't get to a doctor when they should. When people talk about putting Medicaid into a block grant, bottom line means that less money will be going into Medicare. It will not be an entitlement. And there's no question in my mind, but that many thousands of more people will die. This is life and death. So the issue is to be thinking about how we got to the deficit, which has mostly to do with the recession caused by Wall Street greed, less revenue coming in. It has to do with two wars that are unpaid for, huge tax breaks for the wealthiest people in this country, a Wall Street bailout. All right? So you got a declining middle class. You got a recession caused by Wall Street greed. You have a growing gap between the very rich and everybody else. And our Republican friends basically have said, well, now we want to deal with the deficit. And the way to do it is while the rich get richer, let's give them more tax breaks. Let's lower their tax rates. Middle class and working class are sinking. How do we deal with that? Well, let's cut programs that they desperately need. I have had, Tom, before we went on the air, you were talking about the media and media coverage of a demonstration or lack of coverage of a demonstration against Koch brothers.
Yeah, yesterday.
Most Americans do not have any idea. What they're hearing in terms of, from the media, in terms of the budget is $50 billion, $80 billion, $30 billion. What are they talking about? What do these cuts mean? I want everybody to know. 50 million people have no health insurance today. A cut of $1.3 billion in community health centers, denying access to 11 million Americans. They won't be able to walk in the door. Social Security Administration, $1.7 billion. Pell Grants, high cost of college education. People can't afford it. Republican solution is to eliminate Pell Grants for 9.5 million low-income college students. Head Start, major crisis. Childcare all over America. What they want to do is eliminate the program for 218,000 low-income children, which would force 55,000 layoffs. They want to eliminate funding for those programs that help the poorest of the poor. They want to cut back substantially on LIHEAP, very important heating assistance program for cold states like mine, energy efficiency, the WIC program. You name the program, they're going to cut it. So here's the Republican solution. Rich get richer, tax breaks for millionaires and billionaires. Poor get poorer, cut programs that are absolutely essential for the well-being of millions and millions, not only of low-income people, of children, of the elderly, of the sick. What we are dealing with now is a huge ideological struggle for the future of America. At the end of the day, what the Republican plan is, and they're pretty bold about it, is to bring us back into the 1920s before all of the legislation that we now take for granted was passed. And that is a struggle that millions of American people have got to be involved in and say, excuse me, do not balance the budget on the backs of the middle class and working class. They are hurting. We're hurting right now. Ask the wealthiest people in this country. Ask some of these corporations who are paying nothing in taxes to start contributing.
So well said.